Hello and welcome inside the scores table. Brian Haenchen here with you. Danny Riego's out on assignment down in Florida this week, so I'm flying solo today. Have a great show lined up for you as we start to recap a little bit of the holiday hoop season. Going to be joined by Kayla Stidham of Hamilton Southeastern, Kyle Smedley of the South Bend Tribune, Hart and Riley Rarick from Borden, Larrison and Mary Harmon from Greensburg. Plenty to get to here over the next hour or so, both with the guests and on our own. So encourage everybody to subscribe, get involved with the channel. I need to start promoting that a little bit better, but our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers for monetization reasons. So if you want to click that button to subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. I covered a lot of basketball here over the past 24 hours. I started the week out at the Wings and Rings Classic up at Northeastern. Got to check out 8 games on Monday. Excuse me, I keep thinking that today is Saturday, but on Monday. So I had some different takeaways from that, both here and in the written word. Then yesterday was Carroll Tumey for the at Center Grove for Center Grove Brownsburg and Silver Creek versus North Knox. And then that night I streamed both the Lapel South Knox game for a little bit, and then as well the Hamilton Southeastern Decatur Central game. A lot to get to there, especially with the Royals with Kayla when she comes on. Kayla hit a buzzer beater. We'll have video of that here. She had a buzzer beater to beat Valparaiso. Game 2, where one of the big storylines obviously was KK Holman going down with a non-contact injury there in the third quarter. Waiting to hear results on that and what her future holds, but we'll pass it along obviously whenever we hear more, but hoping for the best in that situation. Let's just start with Northeastern at the Wings and Rings Classic. Got a chance there. A wonderfully run event, really good event, tremendous field. I know that some of the games weren't necessarily as close as what a lot of folks, myself included, were expecting, but certainly was telling some of the results. And from that, I want to start with Connersville, because that was a team that honestly, guys, I was not as in tune with as I should have been. I was out on Christmas vacation, so I missed this, but they beat Lapel by 26 just a few days before Christmas. A really surprising result, one in which Lapel led at halftime, I believe, by 6. Connersville comes back and beats them by 26, held them to something like 6 points in the second half, which is super impressive. That's going to be a really dangerous team moving forward. And Aya Bennett, St. John's track commit, is one who jumps out immediately when you watch them play. Just wickedly athletic, which was what you would expect from a state champion sprinter. She jumps out of the gym. It's unbelievable and plays with a certain energy. And what's interesting about Connersville is that at the beginning of the season, they have these close losses to good teams like Delta, New Palestine, Mount Vernon, Hamilton Heights, all really close games that can kind of go either way with teams in terms of building confidence because you're playing with the big dogs, or can hurt confidence because you're just not getting over the hump, and that can wear on a team. And in Connersville's case, it dented their confidence a little bit, and they're pretty open about that. So the big thing with that Lapel game was just kind of getting them back on track and rebuilding that confidence for them, which is exactly what it did. And we saw that against Borden in game 1 of the Wings and Rings event, and then we certainly saw it again in game 2 when they handled a South Knox team that kind of beat the brakes off of Northeastern earlier in the day and were just on fire from 3. They had trouble hitting shots. They had to really work for their looks, and then when they were getting those looks, they weren't hitting them, which is a big testament to Connersville, which went out yesterday and lost in the championship game to Floyd Central 47-32, a game that was competitive there for a little bit. But Connersville, certainly going to be a team to watch there out of that sectional, as we're about a month away from the start of sectionals. They're in a group there with Delta, Hamilton Heights, Newcastle, I believe. So that's going to be a very tough and difficult group, and one with the level of difficulty that looks even higher now, as well as Connersville has been playing. Just quickly on South Knox, I had them down in my notes as well. They've been shorthanded without their post players who suffered injuries earlier in the season. But man, they are really good, and they are really, really athletic. And like I said, I mean, they can shoot the lights out of the ball it's crazy once they get going how dangerous they look. It's very similar to what we saw last year. Not quite the same level of dominance overall, but still just a wickedly good team there. And we saw that last night against LaPel again. I was curious to see how they'd handle Lanaya Wills. She got her points. I think she finished with 30 plus to become the county's all-time leading scorer. But they didn't let anybody else beat them or get hot or get going. And South Knox was able to kind of roll to another good quality win in a game that we could honestly see again at Cambridge Fieldhouse. Another team that was interesting from the Wings and Rings event was Floyd Central. They won the whole thing, taking out Heritage Christian, LaPel, and then Connersville, like I mentioned. They're an interesting team. They kind of fly under the radar being way down south the way they are, but we talked to them at the beginning of the season and just about some of the things that they were looking to improve in that game. And you can kind of see the full finished product taking shape, coming into form here as we cross into January. The way they defend, it's really difficult to score against them. And then offensively, their ball movement is tremendous, and their ability to find those opportunities in the shots for their different playmakers specifically. It's really interesting to see. Elise Coleman had a big game for them up north. So they were a lot of fun to watch here. I apologize. I try to find my spot in the notes. Heritage Christian, one more team to touch on. Riley Johnson, Elise Snively, both looked really good for them. Snively in particular was brilliant against Delta. She had 20-something points. They're a team that's kind of figuring out their cohesion and their roles. They graduated some key seniors from last year and have some new faces and new pieces coming in that they're putting into different roles and kind of finding their way. But again, not unlike Floyd Central and Connersville, you can kind of see those pieces falling into place and kind of see them rounding into form. And they're one of those teams where the results didn't come this week, where they went 1-2 on the week with the loss yesterday to Borden, but against 2A competition, I think that they're going to be a real handful. And it's going to be fascinating to see if they're able to get out of that sectional with Triton Central and Eastern Hancock, what they're able to do and what a rematch potentially with South Knox at semi-state might look like with how well Heritage Christian has been playing and considering what all they have coming back. A team that's been on a lot of people's radars, I suppose, and a lot of chatter, especially since the Hall of Fame Classic, is Norwell. They ranked number 1 in the state, and they've since gone on a 3-game losing streak. They're 13-4 with the blowout loss to Warsaw. They lost by 2 to Valpo and then by 12 to Snyder in a quick turnaround game. I had a lot of people asking me about them, understandably, and I myself was a little curious too to hear what's going on. So I caught up with Coach Eric Thornton yesterday on the phone, and he described this as kind of the hardest week that they've ever had. And that's saying a lot because this is a team that plays a tough schedule. But when you go Plainfield, Warsaw, Valparaiso, Fort Wayne, Snyder, all tight, and both of those in back-to-back situations, that's pretty daunting, especially for a team like Norwell, which isn't the deepest and doesn't have a ton in the way of physicality and size. They're built like a 3A team playing at the 4A level due to the success factor. That takes a toll on a team. And what was interesting, though, was that he feels like they're in good shape still, but that Saturday was a good step for them in that they took a butt kicking, as he described it, against Warsaw at the Hall of Fame Classic last Monday, flushed it, and took steps during practice behind the scenes to make sure that it didn't spiral into multiple losses. And if you look at that Valparaiso game, yes, it was a loss, but they were up most of the way in that game up until the very end when Valparaiso was able to pull ahead and pull out the win. That was a really impressive performance against a very good Valpo team that just went toe-to-toe with Hamilton Southeastern on Monday. So I'm still high on Norwell. I think that Homestead, obviously, in that sectional is going to be a bear, but they should be able to string together a pretty lengthy win streak going in to sectional with the schedule that they have coming up. And yeah, discussion too that kind of comes in for another day is just the success factor. And that's a challenge for this, is that Norwell, on the one hand, they made the jump at the right time and that they have a lot of their key pieces back. But on the other side of it, it's not built like a 4A team. It just, in terms of the size and physicality, and that's something that will be interesting to monitor, and just how Eric Thornton kind of moves the pieces around and compensates for that as we get deeper and deeper into the season. In terms of Carroll Tumey Holiday Tournament, best game of the day was certainly the first one, I would say. Grayson Gilliard had 23 points for Center Grove in a 46-43 win over Brownsburg. That was every bit as close as that score would indicate. Center Grove was up double digits at half. And you have Brownsburg score 18 unanswered points. Kevin Stuckmeyer, Center Grove's coach, said that their offense, they got a little standy and things kind of stalled out. and Brownsburg was able to piece together a run. And when I say piece together, I mean these weren't like a bunch of baskets right in a row. This wasn't a flood of points. It was like Chinese water torture almost, where it was just drip by drip by drip as they kind of clawed their way back into that game and then slowly pulled their way ahead. But it's just so arduous trying to come back against a team like Center Grove with the way that they defend. But Brownsburg managed to do that, capitalizing on some of the stagnation that Center Grove had offensively. But then towards the end of the game, Brownsburg, a thing that's been a problem for them throughout the season was just the turnovers. A lot of little mental mistakes, turnovers that allowed Center Grove to kind of find their footing a little bit and get going. Grayson Gilliard obviously was a big reason for that. She has this baseline move that's just so wicked effective. And Brownsburg was able to seal it off there for a little bit in the third quarter, but she found it again down the stretch at key moments and put on a show. Like I said, 12 of the team's 15 points in the second half and 10 there in the fourth quarter. She was huge. She had a couple clutch 3-point plays down the stretch. I think, and I'm going to write this here soon, I think that she's quietly building a really strong Miss Basketball campaign as Center Grove remains undefeated. I think that she has a lot of potential for upside, especially if they're able to run deep into the tournament with her leading the way, and it's going to be her leading the way. I think she's going to make a really compelling case there. And Center Grove as a team is going to be really fascinating to see out of the 4A South, because the sectional includes Franklin Central, a team that I'm still buying. I know they've had some injuries and things like that, but they're still a very good team. So that's going to be a tough challenge for Center Grove, as we saw last year. But the way that Center Grove defends and just their efficiency offensively, where they don't really beat themselves, is just such a lethal combination, especially come tournament time. And then for Brownsburg, it just, not unlike Connersville, they're coming close against a lot of really good teams. So it's a matter of breaking through against one of these big teams. And maybe there's going to be ample chances. Josh Sable and I were talking about this early in the season and again yesterday. I mean, there's no chill in the Brownsburg schedule. It's just heavyweight after heavyweight after heavyweight. So when Brownsburg scores one of those big wins, it feels like one of those that's going to catapult them. They had an opportunity yesterday. They came back, won by 50, I think it was, over North Knox. So we'll see where they go from here. Silver Creek, also a little problem with North Knox. They had a stretch there where I think it was 3 to 4 straight stolen inbounds, and they converted each and every single one into baskets to turn what was an interesting game at halftime into a not so interesting game in the second half. Just a really explosive team. Brooklyn Wren, her size, the Kansas commit, you could really see her length come into play against a team like North Knox. I was more interested to see how she looked against Center Grove. She had 10 points. Was effective. Center Grove, again, kind of stalled out a little bit offensively, which allowed Silver Creek to get back into the game, kept it a little bit more interesting than maybe it should have been down the stretch. But an impressive win there for Center Grove again, which will play at Bloomington South on Tuesday. 12 points in the first half for Silver Creek against Center Grove, by the way, only 4 of them in the third quarter as they fall to Center Grove, but an impressive performance nonetheless. I'm tired of talking, so we're going to go ahead and bring on our first guest. That's Kayla Stidham. I'm going to go ahead and lead this off with a highlight of the first of Kayla's heroics there against Valparaiso.
Alpo looks for a foul that does not come. 19 seconds left. Stidham lost it, stolen by Barnes. Wide open layup, and we're tied.
In a crazy sequence, they triple team Stidham, and she just dropped, got it taken away.
Barnes blocked the pass. Missouri picks it up. Finds Orm up top with 4 into the corner. Stidham for a 3. Got it! The first 3 of the day for Kayla Stidham. Wins the game for number 4 Hamilton Southeastern.
And with that, we go ahead and bring on Kayla Stidham of Hamilton Southeastern. What's up, Kayla?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for hopping on. How you doing?
I'm good.
That was an impressive shot that you hit there, first 3 of the game. So let's just start there. Talk me through that play and just what's going through your head, how you saw everything unfold there.
You know, it's hard as a shooter to go 0-5 during the game, coming off the bat. So I think in that moment, I wanted the ball, even though I hadn't hit a 3 all game. I still wanted the ball because I know I can make those good shots. I take that shot every day. So that's a shot I know I can make. So I think just having confidence in myself, knowing I can make shots like that, it was nothing.
So is that just helter-skelter? As a player, you just okay, I'm going to find an open space somewhere on the floor after Valpo tied it, or what are you guys looking to do there?
It was kind of hectic. We don't have KK. Obviously, KK got hurt, so it's kind of just trying to find whatever shot we can get. And just staying calm was the big thing, especially like with the young girls. Nobody's been in a situation like that. So just staying calm and finding whatever shot we can take was just the plan for that.
You mentioned KK going down. That happens late in the third quarter. So when she goes down, I guess from your perspective, what's going through your mind when you see your friend and teammate go down like that?
It's hard. I didn't know what happened. I mean, it was non-contact, so hopefully she gets her results back today. So hopefully all good news. But in that moment, it's frustrating. Not like it's just hard, like knowing your point guard, your calmness to the team is out. So I think just trying to regroup all my teammates, especially, the young girls again, just trying to regroup everyone and staying calm throughout the game. We're going to have to have a new point guard, have new people step up. So just trying to collect everyone together.
Was there a lot of panic from the young kids in that moment? Could you sense it? And were you yourself getting a little panicked?
A little bit. And I mean, yesterday too, you could kind of feel it, like kind of just our sense of calmness wasn't there. But I think throughout the game, we got it. We kind of started to click a little bit more. So I think, you could definitely tell like it wasn't normal.
For you, I guess, is it just mentally you understand like, okay, as a senior, as a scorer, I really have to step up here, both against Valpo and then against Decatur Central?
Yeah, as a senior, but also as being on varsity for this 4 years is just I kind of know those situations and know like how I have to regroup everyone. And I was in all those young girls' positions one time, like so nervous, like not wanting to make a mistake. So I know what position they're in. So just knowing the right thing to say to them.
We'll talk about the Decatur Central game here in a second, but I'll let you brag on some of your teammates and some of the kids that stepped up there alongside you in that Valpo game.
Yeah, I mean, Haley, she's her first year on varsity. Like she does a great job handling the ball. I mean, getting thrown out in that situation, like she's done a great job, like hitting those threes whenever she's open, and she's just a sound player, like high IQ. Evie, she thought she was going to play JV and she's got thrown into the starting lineup yesterday. Like she's done, and it's hard for them, like especially just being thrown out there and in those big moments. But she's done so good at staying calm, and like I've been trying to help her, like not letting those missed shots get to you because it's going to happen and that doesn't define you as a player. And then Piper, she's done a great job. She's a great player. Like she's good at every aspect, and we really needed her yesterday, and I think she brought out those good parts of herself yesterday.
Kayla finished with 20 points against Valpo and a career-high 16 rebounds. And then yesterday against Decatur Central, you scored 30 points. That game, as it progresses, I mean, just what's the mood like, the energy like on the bench when Decatur Central gets ahead of you guys there in the second half and is kind of matching with you step for step?
Just trying to keep our composure again. Like they love to play defense. Like they love to get all up in you. So just trying to compose everyone, making it like we're going to have a couple bad turnovers, and like that's fine. We just have to remember to slow down on offense and not let them speed us up.
And then you guys defensively, that's been something that Sat's talked about a lot. It's just how far ahead of the curve you guys have been early in the season. What's been kind of the key, and what have you been most proud of, I guess, with the things that you guys have been doing defensively this year?
That's something Sat's harped on since, I mean, he's always harped on that, but especially last year. So I think this year we've done such a great job of like sticking to those little details. And I think we're all getting to those little details. Like we work on it every day in practice. Shell drill, like we still do shell drill, and it's little things like that keep us in the groove. And I think talking to is a big thing, and just staying connected as a team because we're all really close.
What is the chemistry like with this group? I mean, it does seem like a very cohesive group. Like I've seen you guys a few times. It seems like everybody's each other's best friends, which has to make the season all the more memorable for you.
Yeah, it's easy to be friends with all those girls. Like they're all the nicest people, and it's so easy to be close with all the younger girls and everyone, not just varsity, JV, C team. Like everyone's super connected, and I feel like that it makes the season so much more fun. Like you're not dreading practice. You're not dreading bus rides, no matter what, like even after a loss, we're all still like smiling and having fun, and like those things don't define us. So I think that's really special, is like mistakes don't define us as a team. Like we're all still who we are, and we're all still connected.
Does something like that come through in a moment like when KK goes down with injury, like when you're down in the second half against Decatur Central? Can you kind of feel a different energy maybe than earlier in your career?
A little bit, but I think like yesterday, she was still on the bench, and we have an amazing, like even the girls who aren't getting in, they are amazing. Like we probably have the best bench, like just cheering, like always loud, like it doesn't matter. And they don't take like, oh, well, I'm not getting my minutes, I'm not going to cheer. Like they are always on their feet, like always cheering for everyone. And I think that's something I'm super grateful of, because it brings so much energy. Like we get a couple steals, like they're hype, like, and it just, everyone feeds off of it. So I think that's where we get a lot of our energy off too.
Do you guys have any particularly unique bench sellies or any unique bus ride traditions or anything like that?
I mean, they always do the chomp chomp whenever KK hits a three. I know that. I always see that on film, but yeah, I mean, they always just go crazy. I don't think there's anything specific. They just always go crazy.
So there's two games early in the season I'm going to ask you about. Pendleton Heights being the first one. Just what did you guys take from that game and that night and applied for? Because I don't think you've lost since then, right?
Yeah. We haven't. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just composure again. Like just we had a lot of bad turnovers, and we just weren't playing like ourselves, and just remembering like staying within ourselves, like knowing what we have as a team and not letting that shy away from us.
And then you had that 2-game swing where you go Mudsock one night, Homestead the next day. Just talk me through those 24 hours and just two, obviously, that win over Homestead.
It was hard. I mean, obviously having such a high emotion night on Mudsock, it's always a low scoring game. Like it's a college court, like it's high intensity, a lot more fans. And it was a lot of people's first time playing in that situation. So it was hard just waking up the next day, playing a really, really good team with a lot of great players. But just knowing who we are, like nothing can hold us back. It doesn't matter how good the team is. Like even if we come up with LC again, like we're not going to hold like, oh, well, we lost, so we're probably going to lose again. Like we know what we can do as a team, and just staying together and everyone knowing their roles.
Mudsock, you mentioned playing in the big arena. What has that experience been like here the past 2 seasons?
It's been great. I love it. It's different playing on a college court, like just throughout the season, just like midway, they're like, here, play on a college court. And then the like bright lights, you can't really see. So it's definitely something to get used to, but we practiced the day before in there. So that helped a little bit, but it's obviously different. It's a different feel and a lot more people, a bigger space. So it's different.
So does that mess with you as a shooter, like the lights and the angles and the depth perception and all that stuff playing in such a cavernous kind of arena?
Yeah, and the rims aren't the greatest there, so that too, but yeah, it definitely does. Like just having 2 3-point lines is kind of like just sometimes you can't even tell where you're shooting from.
Right. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about the rims. So they like unforgiving rims, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. What gym has the best rims?
I like ours. I think ours are pretty good. Yeah.
Do you have a visiting gym that you like playing at in particular?
I liked Pendleton Heights. I like playing there. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so moving forward now, I guess just if it is worst case scenario with KK and she's not able to come back or miss any amount of time, I guess, how does that change your role and kind of your space, I guess, within the team?
I think just not necessarily doing too much, but just, making a couple more assists, making a couple more good plays, like just things like that. Everyone needs to do a couple more good things, like rebound a little more, because KK averaged like 7 rebounds. So just rebounding a little bit more, doing those little things that she did and bringing the energy that she brought, especially defensively, and we're just gonna have to try to find that if worst case scenario.
Obviously hoping for the best case scenario, but you mentioned the rebounding too. I mean, that's been an element of your game, but even this season in particular, it seems like you've really kind of elevated that. Has that been a conscious move on your part to start fighting inside a little bit more for those boards?
Yeah, it definitely has. Yeah.
Does that come naturally for you?
I think it's more just like playing hard all the time. Like I don't think I always did that in the past year. So just playing hard all the time, going for every board, like just playing relentlessly.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Kayla, for jumping on with me. Best of luck to you guys the rest of the way. I'll be seeing you here in a few days.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
You too.
Kayla Stidham of Hamilton Southeastern with us. We're going to go ahead and jump over to our next guest here in just a second, Kyle Smedley of the South Bend Tribune. Hamilton Southeastern, by the way, their schedule does not really let up. They get back into it this week with Plainfield and Carmel, and then the schedule spaces out a little bit, but over the last couple weeks of the season, they go Westfield, Zionsville, Center Grove, and Pike, which is a really difficult stretch. And as Kayla mentioned, hoping to find out more on KK Holman's status here later today. Fingers crossed, obviously, for good news, positive news on that front. Going to go ahead and bring on Kyle Smedley now of the South Bend Tribune. Kyle, formerly an intern at IndyStar, now works for that guy Austin Huff up in South Bend. Yeah. Kyle, what's up, buddy?
How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm trying not to feel disrespected because I didn't get a highlight package before you brought me on. So, I know I'm not hitting buzzer beaters or anything, but
I asked your editor to send me some clips that I could run on the screen, like have you read them aloud for us, but he dropped the ball. So this is Huff's fault.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, that guy. Welcome to the Club of Kyles. We've had Kyle Nedrup, Kyle Soakland, and you're our third Kyle, I think.
Yep.
So that's a big moment for you.
Let's be a journalist in Indiana, sports journalist. It helps to be named Kyle.
That's true. That's true. I actually thought about changing my name on Twitter to Kyle. So that's true.
Well, we'll accept you in our club.
Thanks. I can be an honorary Kyle.
Right.
Let's talk Interra Classic. You got out there for what, day 2 yesterday?
Yes.
Let's start with Marquette Catholic because I think that we both have the same impression of them, and that is a darn impressive Class A team.
Yeah, they, to me, they looked like even, before and even after the Interra Classic, they feel like to me particularly the team out of the North region to make it to Class 1A state championship, but going by Sagarin ratings, they're the number 1 team in Class 1A. Going by the eye test, I agree. I feel like when you have a player like Lanaya Davis, particularly at a Class A school, who can just take over games, it's really hard to stop them. And I don't want to discount their other players. I mean, yesterday they were led by Marissa Pleasant, who's a junior. She, earlier this season eclipsed 100 career 3-pointers made, and like I said, she's only a junior, and she hit 6 yesterday in a win. And I think when you have you can play different ways. Like Lanaya can score from anywhere, and the team in general just loves to shoot the 3 ball. They play with purpose. I feel like every time that I've seen them or even just watched them from afar, and I think they go 1-3 at the Interra Classic. Going into it, they hadn't lost a game. They were 12-0. Coming out of it now, they're 13-3. But those losses were to really quality teams. The number 3 team in 3A, Greensburg, the Westfield in 4A, Northridge in 4A, and so it's not just that they're losing to these bigger schools, but the bigger schools are losing to are really quality teams, and I think that matters. And through talking with head coach Katie Calignan and Marissa Pleasant yesterday, they're not, obviously they're frustrated because you never want to lose a game, but they're not as frustrated as a lot of teams would be after a 1-3 tournament, because they know that, okay, these are probably 3 of the best teams, if not the 3 best teams, period, that we're going to play all year. And so you can learn a lot from even a loss. And also, I think it's a lot of pressure if you were let's say they weren't in the Interra Classic, and let's say they ran the table and they go into the state tournament undefeated, that's a lot of pressure. I don't know if you want to go into the state tournament undefeated. I know it's crazy to say, but like it's just there's so much pressure already in the state tournament, but going in there undefeated and feeling like you have to live up to that high bar is tough.
And what's crazy too is that I mean those might be the only losses of the season for Marquette Catholic. I think they still have Crown Point to go. That game looks increasingly difficult as the season goes on with how well Crown Point's been playing. But I mean, for a Class A school's only losses to be to a defending state runner-up in Greensburg, Northridge team that's looked really good, and then who else was it? Westfield, right?
Westfield.
Yeah, a Westfield team that could win its sectional, like one of the toughest every year in the state. I mean, that's really impressive. 3 losses is as good losses go. Let's shift over to Northridge and just they go out, they beat Franklin Central in dramatic fashion by 7 yesterday. What did you see from Northridge?
Yeah, I think Northridge's biggest strength is like you can't and Doug Springer, head coach, kind of views it this way as well. With Northridge, like you can't just hone in on one player. Like Lily Scholl is their leading scorer, and she's a great player. But like you also have talents like Allie Ambers, like Cam Conley. I mean, Cam Conley yesterday was kind of the biggest reason in my eyes why they beat Franklin Central. She makes an incredible entry pass for a Lily Scholl layup to beat the buzzer at the end of the third quarter and tie the game. And then she hits a 3-pointer with a little bit less than a minute to go to put Northridge up 2 possessions, and from there it was the foul game. And then you even have a player like Zoe Yeater, like the 3 I mentioned, you know, Scholl, Ambers, and Conley all average more than 10 points a game, and Zoe Yeater averages more than 9 a game. And so when you have like 4 players who you can give the ball to and feel comfortable that they're going to score, it makes opposing defenses' jobs really tough because there's not someone they can go to and just double team, because then you have somebody open and they're probably going to hit an open look. I feel like that's probably Northridge's biggest strength. They did a really nice job yesterday of also just staying composed. I mean, they trailed the entire first half against Franklin Central, and then they come in and kind of just slowly chip away. I felt like they didn't feel the need to force shots to try to shoot their way back into the game. I think they felt confident enough to just trust in their ability to just, like I said, chip away and stick to the game plan. They didn't have to really change anything up. And something that Coach Springer mentioned as well post game is like Northridge on defense can beat you in so many different ways. I think he said they played 3 different defensive formations in the 3 wins that they had, which they beat Franklin Central, they beat Marquette Catholic, and they beat Greensburg. 3 really quality wins at the Intera Classic. And I think he said they played 3 different defensive formations in those games. And that's incredibly hard. When you have a group who can play 3 different types of defense effectively, again, it makes other teams' jobs of scouting you really difficult. And it also says that, let's say one of them isn't working in the first half, you can switch to a different formation in the second half pretty seamlessly because the girls know how to do it. And I think that gives them a big advantage. Their one loss at the Intera Classic was to Westfield, but again, that's not a bad loss. I do think that if I had to say, I think Northridge is probably overall the better team. I know they're tied, I believe, in the most recent poll with Westfield. I think if you play that game 10 times, I think Northridge wins 6, if that makes sense. Like I think they're slightly better, but Westfield just got the better of them. And Northridge is hot right now too. Like they went 2-3 to start the season, and since then they've won 11 of their last 12, with the one loss again coming to Westfield. Unfortunately, they're in the same sectional as Warsaw. So,
yeah, let's stick quickly with Westfield. That was interesting too in your story. You mentioned Springer talking about the importance of flushing it and moving on right away from that loss. Because I mean, they could have just as easily gone 0-4 with, you see that slate there of teams that they had to play. I mean, that was interesting too, that they were able to flush it.
Like I said, I feel like they showed a lot of resolve and the ability to whether it's on the weekend or not weekend, but over the tournament as a whole, they didn't press, they were able to flush stuff. And then like that translates to individual games where if they find themselves down early, they're not going to panic and they're not going to again try to just shoot their way back into games.
Did you was that your first time seeing Northridge, or had you seen them earlier in the season?
That was my first time seeing them.
Okay. What were your impressions, I guess, too, of what was it, Westfield Penn?
Yeah. Westfield Penn, defense heavy. But that's kind of Penn's MO. They I had the set Penn, they're now they've only lost 3 games this season. And those 3 losses are to Valpo, Homestead, and Warsaw. So those are pretty quality losses. And at the Inter Classic, they beat Westfield and Franklin Central. So those are again quality wins for the Westfield game in particular. Again, like I said, just defense heavy. Penn only allows 30.9 points per game. Defense is kind of their strong suit. Penn averages almost 54 points a game, so props to Westfield for holding them to just 41. But I think again, it's kind of the resolve thing. At the beginning of that game, Westfield led at the end of the first quarter. To me, it looked like Penn was a little flustered. They turned the ball over a couple times early. They looked frustrated, and then they were just able to flush it and move on and beat a quality team like Westfield. I think Penn and Northridge seem like very similar teams to me, where Penn doesn't have quite as many like top tier scoring options in my opinion. Like they don't have a trio of Lily Scholl, Allie Ambers, and Cam Conley, but their freshman point guard Jillian Sanderson is a really, really good player. She leads them in points per game. She dropped 15 against Westfield last night, including 11 in the first half. And then you have other players like Alexis Werner, who's a sophomore. I believe she had 16 points in that win last night, and she averages more than 10 on the year. Olivia Dawson came up with a huge clutch and one layup last night that kind of sealed the deal for Penn and kind of showed the drastic difference in being frustrated at the beginning of the game, and then at the end of the game, the whole team is rallying together and celebrating after a clutch bucket. She can score the ball as well, and so I think again they share a lot of similarities where you can't just hone in on one person on either team. And with Penn, defense is really their strong suit, and they're just both teams are very well coached with Doug Springer at Northridge and Christy Ulrich at Penn. I'm really excited for when they play each other, January 14th. I think that's a pick 'em. Like it's at Penn, so maybe you view that as an advantage. Penn has home court. But yeah, I think when you have a really young team like Penn does, that's encouraging. Like their three top scorers and potentially best players, none of them are seniors, and 2 of them are a freshman and a sophomore. And so that bodes well for the future because Penn plays a tough schedule, and the fact that they're 14-3 right now is pretty impressive.
One more, Kyle, before we get you out of here, and we'll have you back on again soon to talk about some of those other teams we talked about before the show. But who's the best team you think in your area now that you've kind of gotten a chance to see everybody, hear about everybody? Who do you think the best team is up in the South Bend area right now?
So it's an interesting question because I think the team that's going to make the biggest run in the state tournament is Marquette Catholic. I think the state championship is kind of theirs to lose, if that makes sense. But we saw them lose to Northridge. And so I definitely can't say that they're better than Northridge. I don't think that's a game like I said with Northridge Westfield, if they play that game 10 times, that Northridge probably wins 6. I don't think that's as close with Northridge and Marquette. It's probably a game where if you play it 10 times, Northridge probably wins 9 times. They're just more athletic. I mean, they're just more athletic, and they're a bigger school. That's no disrespect to Marquette Catholic.
Sure.
Yeah, that's no disrespect at all to Marquette Catholic. Like I said, I think I think the state championship is theirs to lose, so obviously I think of them highly. But I also think of Northridge very highly. I think if I had to pick between Northridge and Penn, which I do think are the two best teams in our area, I would probably go with Northridge. That's not a prediction for their game on the 14th because, again, like I do think home court matters, and that game will be at Penn. By the way, it's just and I think it also helps Penn because the game before that, like Northridge, 2 games in a row, they've got Warsaw at Warsaw and then Penn at Penn in the span of 4 days, and I think that also helps Penn. Just a brutal 2-game stretch for Northridge the week after this upcoming one. So I think if I had to choose, I would say Northridge. Doug Springer gets it done when it matters. Not to say that Christy Ulrich doesn't, because she's a state championship winning head coach. She absolutely does. But I think Northridge is a little deeper, and they're also more experienced. So
Good stuff, buddy. Where can people find your work, and what big things you have coming up here to start the new year?
Yeah, I've got you can find my stuff just at the southbendtribune.com. On social media, it's Kyle Smedley 03 on X, Kyle Smedley 03 Media, I believe, on Instagram. So you can find my stuff there. And yeah, just on the high school end of things, this weekend is a big wrestling weekend. We've got girls wrestling sectionals on Friday, and then for boys wrestling, the Al Smith invite on Saturday, which is one of, if not the biggest wrestling invite in the state. And then next Friday night, South Bend Riley versus South Bend St. Joe boys basketball. Just a massive game. And also I cover Notre Dame women's basketball as well pretty regularly. They're now officially like in the thick of ACC play. They've got a really, really crucial 3-game stretch coming up here soon. Their next 2 games are on the road at Georgia Tech and Duke, and then they have Boston College at home. But then the 3 games after that are just massive when they host North Carolina, they host Louisville, and then they go on the road to UConn. So I think that 3-game stretch is going to tell us a lot about what Notre Dame women's basketball is made of when you have 3 ranked games in a row. But obviously Hannah Hidalgo is Hannah Hidalgo. So don't count them out of any of those games, even if they're technically ranked below all 3 of those opponents.
Good stuff, buddy. Thanks so much for hopping on with us, Kyle. It's good catching up with you. I'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
See you, bud. Kyle Smedley of the South Bend Tribune with us. We're going to jump ahead right now, go south a little bit, joined now by Emma Hart and Riley Rarick of Borden. It's been a minute, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. What's new since we last talked, 48 hours ago?
We won a game.
That's a positive. That's a positive. Emma, also career all-time leading rebounder for Borden. Let's just start there, Emma. Coach talked about your willingness to kind of focus more on doing like those little things and not as much on the scoring, I guess. Just where does that mentality come from, I guess? And what is your approach to the game?
I feel like I just know my role. Like, especially when Ava was playing and Riley and AJ, we had all those scores, and I knew my role was not going to be to score. It was going to be to do the little things like rebound, dive on a loose ball, just get my teammates open. But rebounding is just something I happen to be really good at, and I just happen to always be in the right place at the right time.
Riley, what's it like having a teammate like that, somebody who's willing to do all those little things and kind of the dirty work for you guys?
Amazing. It helps me out so much. And she gets rebounds and kicks it ahead. And she also can catch any ball I throw at her. That helps me a lot with my assists. So she's just a great player overall. I think she's probably our best player overall on the team.
Damn, that's some high praise there. For you guys in that Heritage Christian game yesterday, I got to watch a little bit of on stream, but just what was your approach to taking on the 2A Eagles?
You want to go?
Riley, why don't you start us off?
Oh, okay. They're a really good team. We knew going into it they were a really good team, and we really had to focus. We knew it was our only game of the day, and we didn't play till late, so we didn't want what happened the first day of the tournament to happen again. So we just really tried to focus and come out strong, which we did. So.
Emma, what were kind of your guys' keys against them? I know they're a pretty athletic team, especially 21 there for them and Riley Johnson as well.
We really emphasized finding their shooters, especially when we went 1-3-1. We had to know where they were at all time and to talk, and just like when they were screening, like to get up high and to push the ball, to get out in transition and go, because a lot of teams can't do it like how we do it. So we just really focused on getting the ball and going and rebounding, obviously.
For you guys, coach kind of mentioned how he kind of dreads Christmas break time. How do you guys approach that as players? And is the roster kind of a factor there when you go so long without playing games?
Yeah, I feel like it. He makes it really like he thinks it's Christmas break is so bad for us, and I feel like it's not great for us either. We just have time off and stuff, and we're not in a routine. But I feel like most of the time we figure it out. We don't play well in tournaments. We haven't for a couple years, so I mean that's just that, I guess.
Except for the state tournament last year, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess.
That's
Yeah, you're right.
that's the exception there.
Postseason.
Yeah, Riley, for you, we talked about this a little bit the other night, but with Ava out, how have you kind of altered your game, I guess, to make sure that the scoring doesn't lag and that you guys are able to still be impactful offensively?
Yeah, I've known I've had to like from the beginning of the year I was told that I was gonna have to score more, which I feel like I have. And I thought at first I was gonna struggle a little bit with it, but I haven't really. I get like the points we need, and then I feel like it hasn't affected my passing too much. I still feel like I get the ball to AJ and Emma and they get theirs. They score 15, 20 points a game. So I feel like we're overall just all contributing and doing well with that.
Is it a big mental shift for you when you are told you have to be a little bit more of a scorer, maybe be a little bit more selfish in some situations just to make sure that you guys are able to keep pace?
I feel kinda a little bit, but like in AAU and like in middle school and everything, like I was the one that had to score most of the time. So I feel like it's just like me getting out of like that phase of not scoring as much. But I feel like it's been fine. I haven't struggled with it that much, I don't think.
Emma, the rest of the team too. I mean, it seems like somebody different every night is kind of stepping up. I guess just talk to me about the importance of that and how you've kind of seen that side of things develop. Just the scoring depth of this team.
I think we all knew, especially with Ava being out, we all had to step up, and we knew it was going to be difficult. And any game, any night, any of us can be on top, and some of us can be not having our best game, obviously. So like we just like focus on if our teammates hitting their shots, just to get them the ball, and if you're not, just do the little things that can get them open, get a rebound, make the next pass, like anything, just to help us win.
Obviously, every team's different, but with you guys returning so much and obviously Ava being out changes things. But how is this team different, and how do you feel like you guys have grown even from last year? Oh yeah, go
I
ahead, Emma.
I feel like yes, we have like a giant target on our back, and we just know that we wanted to do it again. And the roles were going to be so much different this year. And I think it's possible for us to do it again. We just knew we had to work 10 times harder to get there. And I think the mindset was just different. And like we emphasized the different mindset that we were going to have to work 10 times harder and we were going to have to step up if we wanted to do it again.
Riley, on the playing side of things, how has this team kind of developed and grown year over year?
Yeah, I mean, like at the beginning, we were a little worried about everything, especially at the beginning of this year. Like, we're always like thinking about how things are going to change, like with new players we have and everything. But I feel like we all like work so well as a team together that it never really affects us, like with who we have and who we don't. Like, we just figure it out quickly. Like, we struggled the first couple games we did this year, but we figure it out quickly. And then, like, once everybody knows their role, like, it's just like we all just play really well together. So.
Talk to me about the team chemistry side of things. Obviously, we got to see it last year, following you guys around at the state championship. Saw it again a little bit this week too. But just the cohesion of this group, because it does seem unique, even for a small town, how close everybody seems to be on that team.
Yeah,
Riley,
well,
why don't you start?
yeah, three of us have been playing together since fourth grade, and like we haven't stopped. Like McKenna took a break, but I mean, she never really like. I feel like she never really like left the game. I feel like, and then Ava McKenna came, AJ came, or I mean, AJ came her seventh grade year, Ava came her eighth grade year. So we've all just like been together for like a while, and that's why I feel like we just have such good chemistry because we're all like really. It's not even like we're not friends outside of basketball too. Like we're all really, really good friends outside of basketball. We all hang out. So we're just together all the time. So I feel like that's another reason we have really good chemistry.
Emma, what about you? What's it been like being part of this program and growing up in that community?
It's the best. I've been going to Borden games since I was extremely little, and the atmosphere is just better than anywhere I've ever been. And playing with these girls, they're not just like my best friends, they're like a family. And we just work so well together, and on and off the court, we're best friends. So that obviously helps. And like when we went to state and regional and semi-state and all that, our community traveled with us, and it was just so amazing, and it was so loud. Everywhere we went, we had people everywhere, and we would have people bring us stuff in our locker rooms, decorate our locker rooms, bring us food and pizza and all that, like for us winning, and it just meant the world to us.
Jumping around a little bit, but I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys after the Jennings County game when you took down them and Molly Ernstis. What did you guys do defensively against her, and what was the approach to playing that team specifically?
I guarded her. We didn't face guard her really. Like we just like knew I had to stay on her. We didn't switch stuff with me, and everybody else just did their role and played defense like well on who they should have. They helped me a lot, like just because they run a lot of stuff for Molly, so just helping me a lot with that. And I feel like even though she did have 30 points, I feel like we did play pretty good defense on her.
Emma, that run there where you go Brownstown, Central, Jeffersonville, and then Jennings County before taking on Lanesville to win all of those. No ties this time, which was pleasant surprise. I guess just what did that do for this group in terms of chemistry and kind of launching you guys now into that second half of the season?
That really boosted our confidence. That was good. That was a really hard week for us, especially the week with Jeff and Jennings County. And we just worked so hard there, and it was a lot. We were very tired after that stretch, and we just knew that winning those games would be really good for us because they are top teams, and we just worked together and we got the job done.
Riley, you mentioned McKenna, and I know that you guys abandoned her after the interviews the other night, but just what is it like having that kid in the locker room? I mean, she just seems like an endless, like I don't even know how to describe it, just a jokester, I guess.
Yes, very much so. Like after we lost, I was like so mad just because like I just hate losing. And she was like, she wouldn't talk to me because she knows I get mad or whatever. And then once I talked to her, she was like, oh, good. Like I could talk to you now because I don't want you mad. So like she always is just in a good mood no matter what. And it helps our team as a whole because a lot of us don't like to lose, but she always is just like is joking and stuff. So I mean, it helps us out.
Emma, who've been some of the other kids that have been stepping up for you guys beyond the 4 seniors?
Peyton Fisk, Sailor, Harper Martinez came in and hit a couple threes for us, which is huge. They're going to be there next year when we're gone. So it's really important for them to get these minutes and to step up and see what like real game like experiences. So it's going to be really good for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So defending Class A champs are 12-2 on the season. Riley Rarick, Emma Hart. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. It was good catching up, and we'll be seeing you again here soon, hopefully.
Thank you.
Take care. Emma Hart, Riley Rarick of Borden with us. Going to move now at the Intera class. We're going to move to the south side of things with Claire Larrison, Mary Harmon of Greensburg with us now. What's up, guys? Oh, let's see. I don't know. Mary, can you hear me? I can't hear you. I can't hear her. Hi, Claire. We'll let Mary get that sorted out when she jumps in with sound. We'll get her. Claire, let's start with this weekend. Claire, can you hear me? I don't think anybody can hear me. Can Mary, can you hear me? Mary can hear me, but we can't hear her. Claire can't hear me apparently, but we can hear her. So this is the perfect dilemma. Do you two want to log out and log back in, and we'll get you guys set up?
You can't hear him. No, I know.
So we'll have them restart things here. Greensburg had a really nice win right before the Christmas holiday over Brownsburg. A come from behind win for them over for a Brownsburg as I try to pull up their schedule here. This is always easier with Danny because Danny can just talk and fill time for me while I try and get things worked out. But yeah, Greensburg coming off the big win of Brownsburg 49-48. Then they go to the Intera Classic and they split the day against a couple really good teams. They split. I cannot multitask. Fun fact about me today. They split 2-2 at the Intera Classic. Wins over Class 4A Westfield and win over Marquette Catholic, which you discussed earlier. And then Northridge and Homestead, both losses, neither of which are bad losses to 4A teams. Claire's still here. Let's see if we can hear Claire. Claire, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. How are things?
Yes, it's good. I mean, I think we've been playing pretty well. I thought that tournament going up to Northridge was definitely good for us, and getting some competition up there was nice, and I thought we did well overall.
Let's start with the Brownsburg game. You guys are down in the fourth quarter, find a way to come back and win. What were the keys there to coming back against them?
Yeah, I think Allie and Kaylin, I mean, hit like 5 threes or something. Like, I think our threes were really helping us just get back in the game, and I thought those two did a really good job of just like scoring for us. I mean, they were hitting on everything. I think the rest of us stepped up on defense, and just I think we all just like stepped up in some small areas and just got up there and ended up getting up, and then we battled back and just kept the lead, and we played smart at the end, I thought, too, and all that. So yeah.
Gonna try Mary Harmon now. Mary, can you hear us?
Yeah.
And we can hear you. What's up with you?
Not much.
How are things?
Good. How about you?
Oh, pretty good. So for you, we were talking about the Brownsburg win. After coming up short against Franklin, obviously you guys were a little banged up for that one, East Central, and then Hamilton Southeastern. Just what did it do for that program inside the room when you guys were able to beat a 4A team in Brownsburg?
I mean, it's just we went into the game like we weren't favored to win or anything, but we knew, like, watching film, like, we can beat this team. And I think it just took, like, we sort of had to break through a wall. We were down a lot, and we just really had to come together as a team, change something, and then come out. And then we battled with them and then ended up getting the win. So that was great.
When you're losing to some of those 4A schools, does that kind of wear on you guys mentally, or is this group where you guys kind of, I don't know if ambivalent is the right word, but just did it not affect you in that way?
I honestly, I think.
Go ahead, Mary.
Okay. I think, honestly, we play better when we're down, because then, like, we have something to prove. We got to get there. And then right now we're really focused on, once we get to that point where we like cut it to like 4 or 5, then we just really have to keep going. And I think that's something we executed really good against Brownsburg.
Claire?
I think last year, too, with all the competition we played, helped a lot of us this year, too, and just knowing, like, what we're going up against. And I think we do, like, good of battling back and knowing what we have to do to win.
Was that kind of the energy yesterday at the entire Classic, when it's a bit up and down, to just stay the course and maintaining that confidence?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start with the 2 wins, Westfield and Marquette Catholic. Just what did you guys take away from those performances? I mean, those are two quality teams you took down.
I think in Westfield, we definitely started out rough, but we scouted them pretty well, and just knowing where their shooters were, and knowing like their 2 freshmen that came off the bench, like just knowing where they were at all times, just our defense really helped us out in that win.
And then Marquette Catholic, I feel like we obviously knew who was going to be their number 1 scorer in Davis. So our game plan literally going into that was like semi-state with Maddie Shirley. Let her get everything, cut out their shooters. Obviously, that didn't work the best the first half, so we kind of had to like switch base, and then we kind of went back to like traditional defense and then just locked down on the ball, and then it ended up working and we won.
Was that your assignment, Claire? Were you on Lanaya Davis in the Marquette Catholic game?
No, Mary was on Lanaya, and then I was in help, yeah.
Mary, what was it like guarding Lanaya Davis, and what makes her such a difficult kid to stop?
I mean, she's athletic. I mean, it's crazy. And then I feel like I did a good job, like, not giving her any easy shots, but even like ones when like help would slide over, she would hit the toughest shots, and I would just be like, I don't know what we're supposed to do with that.
Yeah. And then the Homestead game, obviously a difficult game, 84-44, but what did you guys take away from that? What were your impressions of Homestead?
I think their speed was really good. Like, obviously we had played 3 games previous, so we were kind of like, our legs were kind of dead, and we were just, I don't know, like, it just wasn't a good game for us. But they're a really good team, and like they're so deep, and like all their players are just so good. But I think their speed was really good, and just the offense and the way they communicated was well too.
And even Jason said this, we won the 3rd quarter, and then our 1st quarter, I think we were down 4. So he's like, you prove that you can do it. We just need to stay consistent. And then especially in the 4th quarter, what's like really good about Homestead is that their 1 through 12 could all play on a varsity team somewhere else. Like their second string of like 5 could beat a lot of teams in the state, just they're coming off the bench.
Mary, Claire and I have talked about this, but with Leah graduating last year, the other seniors that you guys graduated off last year's runner-up team, how has that kind of changed your role in terms of leadership, and how have you kind of fulfilled that vacancy?
It was definitely like hard at the start because I've always had like Leah and Miley and all of them to like lead the team. So then coming up, it's kind of like I need to be the voice for everybody. Like I feel like I've always been one that was like, come on guys, let's go. But I really had to like pick that up today or this year. And I feel like it was just an adjustment. And I think like we're finally getting to the point in the season where like me and Claire and Allie can be leaders for the team.
Claire, how have you liked that shift in role and kind of stepping into that more prominent leadership position?
Yeah, I mean, I've liked it. I think it's fun to like be able to lead the team and just be able to know that my team's like looking up and just looking for me whenever there's like rough times. But it's been good. I think we've done a good job too.
For both of you guys, Mary, you mentioned Allie Power. She went over 1,000 points a few weeks ago. Just what have you seen from her this season in terms of her development and her contributions to this group?
I mean, all that I've seen from Allie is good basketball. I mean, especially in our holiday tournament, she proved that she's like one of the best shooters, if not the best in like our area. And I think just the offense that she brings, and then she's starting to like accompany that with good defense too. And she's going to be a problem like in the state tournament. And then once she gets into college, she's going to be really good.
Claire, how has that kind of opened things up and changed some of the looks that you've seen from defenses as the season's gone on?
Wait, repeat that.
Just, I guess with Allie kind of stepping up offensively, obviously you have Mary. How have the looks that you've been seeing from opposing defenses, how have they kind of altered and progressed over the season?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, most of the teams, like, it's definitely been hard because getting face guarded, like, it's not fun, but we're, like, doing some more offense where we're curling and stuff and just screening away, which has been helping. So, like, the curls and everything has been working. So I think just, like, keeping my head in it whenever, like, I'm getting face guarded, not trying to, like stay out of the play, like, trying to still stay involved and stuff has been working. But, like, also a lot of teams are focusing on Allie, too, so like sometimes it's making it easier, sometimes it's one of us and then the other. So like for like if it's her getting face guarded, then I feel like it's easier for me. Then if it's me, then it opens up a lot for her. So yeah.
For both of you guys, how has this group been kind of developed and started coming together here over the course of the past month and a half, 2 months? Mary, why don't you start us?
I feel like one of the things, especially starting the summer, Jason was like, everybody needs to go like learn our role. And I feel like that was what we struggled with at the beginning of the season. Obviously, our loss to Franklin and East Central, I feel like we struggle with that. But I feel like we're really getting into like, okay, we want to get Claire and Allie the ball. And then especially this weekend, he's telling me like, you need to be a scoring threat so then they can get theirs. And then of course we have Emma Kuntz, who has learned her role a lot. She sprints and transition. And then our 2 freshmen, Sophie and Lulu, they just been score when they need to, and then obviously set screens to open up for the other scorers.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely everyone knowing their role. And also, like, I think our defense has improved. Like, after our first few losses, we kind of changed a few things and also our, like, transition and stuff. So I think, like, a lot of those changes have helped and just, like, we know what we have to do, like, what we want to do in the future. And, like, if we want to do that, like, we have to step up now and start proving a point and all that. But I think we've came together really well and, like, really have been starting to work together as a team better.
Claire, I haven't had a chance to talk to you since you committed to Ball State, but what went into that decision for you?
Yeah, I think it just felt right. I mean, I loved their coaches. Like, they were just so great, and just I love the atmosphere and everything about it. And it kind of is just like a weight lifted off too. Like, it's just a relief too. So it just felt right. So.
With the other in-state kids that they have, Lily Barnes, Hannah Menser, Kenzie Cook, I guess, what's the relationship among the 4 of you guys, and did that kind of factor into the decision as well, knowing that there are so many other in-state kids going there?
Yeah, so I'm really close with Lily from AAU and Hannah. So, like, I was really excited about that. And then obviously Kenzie Cook and stuff. We've been, seeing each other on social media and stuff like that. So it's been fun, and I'm excited to get there, really.
And then, Mary, for you, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask how you're holding up health-wise. It seems like every time we've talked lately, you've been kind of banged up, or about you've been banged up. So how's the recovery been from the summer injury, and are you healthy now?
I'm good now. Knock on wood, but I had a little problem in my shoulder, but we got it cleared up, and then now I'm just 100%.
Yeah.
So for you, what's ahead? Are you looking to play in college, or is this going to be your last ride?
I haven't really decided yet. I've been talking to a few coaches, and then also I've been considering playing tennis, and then I have some opportunities to play both. So it's really just needs a lot of thinking about, but I'm still considering it.
Basketball, tennis is a unique combination. How did that start?
Well, I play basketball my whole life, so then it's like taken up a lot of my time. But I think my number one sport, at least for like skill wise, is tennis. And tennis is really fun, basketball is really fun, and just the fact that I have the opportunity to go and a coach recognizes, hey, you're good at both of these sports, maybe you want to play both. It's just a really nice thought.
So was that like big in your family growing up? Did Claire get you into it? How did tennis start?
I'm trying to get Claire to play tennis since she got here. But my dad played at Marion, so and then he's always wanted me to be a tennis player. So and then I really started getting into it in probably 6th grade, and then it's become a big part of my life since then.
So Claire, are you going to take her up on tennis? Like, is it a senior graduation gift, or are you going to start?
I don't know. Maybe senior year, but Mary would be gone by then. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, thank you so much for hopping on with me. It was great talking to you guys. Great seeing you, and hopefully be seeing you again here soon in a couple weeks when you guys play around Collie.
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited for that game.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
Thank you, too.
You too.
Claire Larrison and Mary Harmon of Greensburg with us here on the scores table. That's all we got. That's a 1 hour show to wrap up the year. Danny and I will be back together at some point next week with some guests already planned for that one. A lot of good games coming up this weekend, and then early next week as well. You have Hamilton Southeastern Carmel comes to mind immediately. The Johnson County tournament will be starting up here before long. And then as well, you have some big games coming up next week, including, like I mentioned earlier, Center Grove, Bloomington South. But that's all we got. We thank you all so much for watching. Everybody who stuck with us for the full hour. Everybody who stuck with us through the full year. Be sure to subscribe to the channel on YouTube. There should be a button somewhere around here. And we'll talk to you again next year. Thanks.